How's your gut health?
I feel fine and have felt fine throughout this whole process. The only time I did not feel fine was when I was finishing hot dog number 7 and knew I had at least 2 more to go. And then, of course, turned out I had 10 more to go.
Several of which I helped you with.
Yeah. I mean, it broke us in terms of the actual eating. I never would have been able to eat 17 hot dogs myself.
It was like the inside of my body had turned into the Dead Sea. It was just a salty brine.
How many calories did we consume between us? About 7,500.
The Seattle dog is excellent, by the way.
I know. What a wonderful surprise. Amid all of the pain that we put ourselves through.
Yeah, like if I had only had 2 of them,
Yeah,
what a delight.
exactly. 1,000%. If I had only had 6 of them, what a pleasure.
Hello, and welcome to Expected Own Goals. Seattle punishes our guts, rains down a whole host of shots, but still loses edition. I am your host, Eric Morgan.
And I'm Evan Davis. It's almost as if every player and coach on the Seattle Reign knew what was at stake for the XOG boys during that game, because I, of course, had made a bet in the middle of the season saying for every shot that Seattle took in the playoffs, I would have to eat a Seattle dog. There was just one small problem. Seattle, during the regular season, 8.5 shots per game on average, the lowest in the league by a considerable margin. They had never taken more than 17 shots in a game in 2025. Lo and behold, they go down early, and it's the playoffs, win or go home, and they really hit the gas and tied their season high with 17 shots.
Yeah, in a way, you actually have Haley McCutcheon to blame for this, for just scoring a goal relatively early and forcing Seattle's hand to come out and really play this game. But also, we only have ourselves to blame. But let's actually talk about the game that occurred here.
I know, the only quarterfinal to actually be completed in regulation time. And that's not necessarily a compliment based on what we saw.
No, but I do think Seattle deserves credit here. This is one of the better performances they've put in a meaningful fixture this season.
It might be the best performance that they've put in all year.
Yeah,
it's up there.
It's a little bit damning with faint praise, but also
I don't think the praise is all that faint.
But also, ultimately, this felt like a potentially missed opportunity. Like, if this is a version of Seattle that could have existed, this feels like a missed opportunity for the team over the course of 2025.
Yeah, I think so. And it's sort of tough to know, was this potential always available to them from March onward, or was this born out of circumstance? You mentioned McCutcheon scores in the 21st minute, 22nd minute.
That's right.
And it's win or go home. So now you're down a goal, playing a team. You haven't been home yourself because you played Orlando in their house on decision day and then just stayed in market to train and faced them again 6 days later. You know, you had to throw everything at the wall. Game state dictated it. And so you just saw more shots. Not a lot of good shots, but a lot more shots.
No, and inside the whole host, the 17 shots that they ended up taking, it's not that there weren't some decent chances. There weren't great chances, but also, we're a Sally Menti free kick away from this being a game that went the distance.
Yeah.
That clips the underside of the bar.
Right.
Seattle were not without opportunities.
They had 3 quality chances all game. And for a 96-minute match, this one was 101 minutes. That's above the league average. That's like a decent attacking performance, especially when you hold the opposition to just one of those kinds of chances. So, yeah, it's finishing luck. It's flukiness on a free kick from Sally Menti. Could Claudia Dickey have done better on the McCutcheon goal? I don't know if I totally believe that, but an argument maybe can be made. It's, again, just like certain things just kind of didn't go their way. And weirdly, it's the cosmic scales balancing out of them being in the playoffs in the first place when they probably didn't deserve it based on overall performances. And then the one day where they truly outplayed a superior opponent by every reasonable argument, they're going home.
It's a bitter irony
and
here.
And then Marta sticks in the dagger at the very last second for no reason, just because she felt like it. You know,
to be fair, like, it was a goated moment that was deserved. It was vintage.
But she also said after the game, it's like, yeah, I just wanted to see if I could still do that. Like, there was no tactical advantage to doing it. Like, you were already up a goal with like basically 30 seconds of stoppage time left to play. Like, all you needed to do is keep possession and keep it to the bylines and not allow them to win the ball in a central area. And you were going to run out the clock and be fine. But no, she was like, fuck y'all. I'm going to show you at 39 years old that I can pull this off.
And it also leads to like one of the best moments we've had in the league all year, which is Luana ending up slotting home the dagger penalty.
And Marta giving her the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily who you would have thought of as the first person up in line to take a penalty. For
No, I mean, Marta would have taken that pen under normal circumstances, but she specifically said, like, no, like, I'm giving it to Luana.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Let's get into the game itself and talk. First off, to go back to the disappointment of like what Seattle could have been, I felt like this was one of the best games we got all year. It was like a Maddie world. This was one of the best games that we got from both Maddie Mercado and from Maddie Darlene, who I think were both really bright lights in attack in the second half as they chased the game.
Yeah, again, kind of had to be, but you play the game state that's presented to you. You play what's in front of you. And I guess we should give them credit for trying to take it to Orlando. And again, they didn't have a choice, but we're just so not used to Seattle doing that ever. So you have opportunities, and Orlando had zero interest in actually playing real football, especially after they went up a goal early in the game.
In a weird way, Seattle was sort of served themselves to beat
once
they were down a goal.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Orlando did not give a shit about attacking once they were 1-0 up.
No.
Because they also knew that, like, defensively, they probably weren't going to be under a whole lot of threat. And even though Orlando was pushing the bodies forward, we're trying to string passes together in the final third, it was just very few really high-quality chances that they were able to take. 3 of them across the whole game. That's usually enough, especially when you hold the opposition to 1, to, like, get a result at the very least. But if you proportionalize it relative to the amount of chances they had in total, I think Orlando is probably pretty happy with the performance that they put in.
And granted, Orlando, I think, took a pretty traditional knockout approach. The goal that they score is an excellent no-look pass by Marta to Julie Doyle, who slots a perfect little pass into Haley McCutcheon, who slots home.
Yeah.
It's a great goal.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the kind of goal that allows you to sit back and defend for the rest of this fixture.
And also you have a great backstop. Like Anna Morehouse, like, regressed a little bit this year from what she had been in 23-24, but she faced 1.2 post-shot XG on the day, didn't let anything by her. So those 3 quality chances were covered by the fact that you have a pretty good goalkeeper on Orlando's side.
Another way in which Seattle was beaten by what they've been doing to teams all season.
Yeah.
Anna Morehouse did a great Claudia Dickey impression.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And so it's, I mean, Seattle could probably feel a little bit hard done by, but I'm also not of the opinion that, like, Orlando didn't deserve to go through, if that makes any sense.
I agree with you. I think you could make the argument every game this weekend. This was a coin flip where a team that was credible, but maybe not the best team on the day, won and went through.
Yeah, on the day for sure. And also not a lot of, like, great attacking performances anywhere except for maybe Washington against Louisville. And it kind of got me thinking a little bit. How good are attacks in the playoffs relative to the regular season? Because we see in other sports, especially in baseball, just because of, like, the weather and the fact that you're just facing better pitching across the board, because everybody who makes it to the playoffs usually has better pitching than, you know, teams at the bottom of your division in the regular season. So it kind of got me thinking, like, is playoff attacking performance genuinely worse when relative to what you do in the spring and summer? And lo and behold, it is significantly. I looked at the attacking performances from the playoff teams in each year since 2022 in the regular season, and then compared it to how they perform in the postseason. And, like, 1.2 non-penalty XG per 96 minutes for playoff teams in the regular season, 0.82 in the playoffs. Big swing. Same thing with goal scoring, goes from 1.3 to 0.8. Overall, like, chances, like, shots go from 12.2 to 8.2, and even, like, shot conversion rate, like the ability to, like, maybe continue to ride finishing luck, gets cut in half. 10.2% goes down to less than 6%. So yes, attacking is much, much more difficult to generate and find in high quality once you get to the playoffs. Now, There's probably a few reasons for that. All probably play some kind of part. On the one hand, you're facing better defenses because everybody who makes it to the playoff probably has to have a good defense.
No softies in the playoffs.
There are no softies in the playoffs, even when you're talking about Seattle, who like overperformed their defensive record. The other part of it is it's single elimination knockout football, which usually incentivizes teams to play more conservatively and not open themselves up and not try to like go for multiple consistent like high value attacking opportunities. Maybe a little bit of weather plays a part because it's November and the weather's cooler. We certainly
maybe not in Central Florida, but
maybe
in
not
other
in
parts
Florida,
of the country
for sure. But maybe Kansas City, Gotham, given just like how much more difficult it was to probably just move the ball in 20-degree Fahrenheit weather. That's probably the smallest factor. Whereas in baseball, it's actually a fairly large one. But for you, let's think about knockout football versus higher concentration of high quality defenses. Like, how would you weigh those two possible reasons for why attacking shrinks so significantly when you get to the playoffs?
I think in a very simple way of describing it is what is the cost of the outcomes of various games. In the regular season, the cost of a loss is nowhere near as severe as a one and done. And so I think people game plan appropriately for that, which is to say, the risk of getting yourself caught out is so much greater than the benefit of taking that attacking chance, because worst case scenario, if you can play out your defensive game plan to its logical end, you will end in a coin flip to get through, which incentivizes teams that are worse to be more conservative and teams that are better not to necessarily see the value in overextending themselves.
And we didn't talk about it too heavily in our Kansas City Gotham recap, but that is exactly what Vlatko Ananovsky and Juan Carlos Amaros did. Gotham bringing Jalen Howell to essentially function as a third center back for a lot of the game. And then Andonovsky for not really allowing either Lola Bonta or Claire Hutton to break the rest defense structure very much, especially in that first half, because you don't want to open up the middle going the other way. And I think you saw that with the way that Orlando just kind of like overloaded the midfield with not a lot of players who wanted to be progressive. I mean, and there were a lot of points where like Angelina and Ali Limos and Marta were staying very deep and very compact in line with each other. Nobody like really pushing on very often. Same thing with Haley McCutcheon. Like a lot of times it was like a flat four midfield with Corey Dyke also pushed up. So you got a bunch of bodies in the middle of the park who are kind of staying on average when Orlando was in possession around the halfway line, not being adventurous in the slightest, because why risk it? Especially when you know your opponent is not going to pose probably as egregiously dangerous a threat, i.e. you're probably going to hold on to that 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and last year, the underpinning of the Orlando team that made their way to the final and ended up winning the final was actually a solid defensive structure, and then really just like leaning into the quality of your elite attacker. They are without their elite attacker in Barbara Banda now.
And also without Ali Watt.
Correct. And so now it became take your opportunities when they present themselves, and they score a goal on one of the first sort of adventurous outings that they take, at which point the benefit of that second goal is so much less valuable than the cost of conceding.
Yeah. And then the one player they kept high up pretty regularly, Jackie Ovalle, like kind of had a really bad game, but she also wasn't like being asked to have a good game necessarily.
Yeah, I would say she was doing a lot of like off-ball work that was necessary, and very little of it shows up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, because that's all on-ball stuff.
Yeah.
And to that point, like the value of the second goal, like obviously Marta's run is incredible to watch. It's an expression of like vintage 2010, 2012 Marta.
It's pure roll back the clock
But
stuff.
there were a couple of points, because especially she's 39, so she can't really turn on the jets the way that she used to. So it's all trying to use her technical ability to like keep Seattle's defenders sloughed off. But there was a part of me that did wonder, is like, shit, Marta, if you had lost the ball and they had turned it around, like, are we talking about like U.S. men, Portugal men, 2014 World Cup group stage kind of thing?
Well,
I did think about that at one point.
It's so funny, and that's a good comp there. But like what you end up with is exactly the situation that Emma Sears found herself in with Louisville's playoff hopes on the line on decision day, and she, instead of taking it to the corner,
Yeah.
went for a goal with the lead and opened up Louisville to
almost
account.
fucked them.
Yeah, almost fucked them. First off, Orlando's defensive structure is better than that.
Yeah.
And Marta did not have a lot of support in the run.
Right.
And just, I think, understood that she could bait the attackers who had chased her back into a foul. I don't think she's actually looking for a shot. I think she's looking for contact.
I think you're probably right, especially with the way that she is moving through one, and then it's a double team, and then it's a triple team, and they just keep kind of doing what maybe she hoped they would do, which is be baited into a bad zone. And then she did get the contact eventually.
Yeah,
You know.
she very smartly draws that foul.
Yeah.
And I think, unlike with Emma Sears, who was not seeking the contact there, the best thing that happens in that time-wasting moment is when you draw a penalty, the clock just keeps on rolling and you can take your sweet-ass time
That's right.
to get that off. So what was maybe a calculated and or poor decision for most players, Marta turns into a very good decision for herself that ends up being like the best time-wasting move they could have gotten away with.
Yeah.
It's higher risk, but it's Marta.
I think that's probably that's ultimately fair. You know, Morehouse just had a really great game in net, and McCutcheon was able to grab an early goal that just completely shifts the calculus for Seattle. And then a team with a little bit less talent, maybe significantly less talent, is the one that's walking away despite being the better team on the day.
Yeah. And again, Orlando, I think, and this can be attributed to like been there, done that, or whatever experience.
I'm not listening to that argument.
Yeah, I know you don't love this, but what I guess I'm getting at is the thing that got them a title last year was playing within themselves, and the thing that they relied on once they had the lead was playing within themselves. Seattle attempted to stretch them in countering situations, and instead of being dragged out of position, they sort of invited Seattle inward and then blocked their shots toward goal or denied them clear looks. And other than one Mercado chance, I really don't think Orlando exposed themselves to like a really deadly situation, which is impressive considering the emphasis Seattle was placing.
Yeah, and for all of the high marks we can give to Sam Meza, Sally Menti, Maddie Darlene, both in this game and across the season, they're still playing at a talent deficit.
Yeah.
And so when the better team really doesn't have to play, that just forces you into trying to make up the gap. And like Seattle just can't really do that. I mean, Jordan Heitema got subbed off at halftime, and who are you replacing her with? You know what I mean? Seattle now has to answer some really hard questions about like where the next phase of their roster and what the next great Seattle Reign team is going to look like. And, you know, maybe ChatGPT can help them with that.
God. Yeah, we talk about
I had to do it one last time. One last time for the one for the road, kids.
I mean, we do talk about sort of like what Kansas City was without in these playoffs, but Seattle was without Lynn Biondolo, a player that they had signed to basically help them out of a situation like this. Whether that signing was a thoughtful one or one that could have I think you could have predicted a lack of availability in the playoffs for Lynn Biondolo, given her age and
previous injury issues.
That said, Seattle, in terms of squad building, they couldn't play themselves out of the corner they built themselves into.
I completely agree. For their attack, Fishlock did not start. Am I wrong about that?
Nope.
Yeah, like Fishlock did not start, but also Fishlock's 38 and doesn't seem to want to say goodbye to club soccer either. I mean, for all of the excitement that the very young talent Seattle generates, they have a lot of very old, very key pieces in their starting 11. Again, I'm not saying anything we haven't said before on the show multiple times, but like when it comes to these kinds of moments, these very, very high stakes, all or nothing moments, those things can get exposed. And like even when Biondolo was healthy, she was not having her best season in the world.
Yeah.
You know? And so yes, this was a box they built of themselves, without a doubt.
To end on sort of two things. First off, Orlando going forward, the path could not have been cleared for them better.
Yes.
You know, to
Thanks,
repeat
Gotham.
as champions. Yeah, they were fortunate to be the 4 seed, and now they host a playoff game. Unlikeliest scenario imaginable going into this weekend.
Their 50th percentile outcome was having to go to Kansas City this coming weekend. And now they get to stay at home, which is great. Every team wants that, especially with the tight turnaround to the semifinal. And they're probably feeling good about themselves, and they don't have to deal with Kansas City at all. And while Gotham, the projections, and I think probably, I agree, I don't know how you feel, probably is the favorite, even though they're the road team, that's a winnable game for Orlando.
Given Orlando's injury situation and Gotham's relative health in comparison, plus the number of weapons they have in attack. And, look, Gotham were 4 games on the slide going into the playoffs, but a game like beating Kansas City, the best team in league history, on the road, that can reverse the curse for you real quick.
Well, what reverses the curse is that Lily Real started and Gabby Portillo started. Like, that's what's reversing the curse here. But we'll dig deeper into Orlando against Gotham in our semifinal preview. Any last thoughts on this quarterfinal?
I wanted to end with thoughts on Lauren Barnes, who played her last professional game and who sort of is the NWSL.
That's literally what I said on social media when her retirement was announced. No player has ever played more NWSL minutes. No player, I believe, has played more playoff minutes, or at the very least, she's like in that top 3
She's
zone.
close, yeah.
Yeah. Was a great player in her day, managed to find long, strong pockets of form. In these last couple of years, she got to play in a championship game one last time back in 2023. She is one of 4 or 5 players, maybe she's the only one left now, who has played in every single NWSL season, including the 2020 Challenge Cup and Fall Series. Like, she is the NWSL for a reason, because she's like, we love our graft scores. We love we love a graft player.
Yeah, she's a future probably XOG Hall of Famer.
She's going into the XOG Hall of Fame. We will be having our quote unquote induction ceremony in the offseason. No, really special player, really special person. I think beloved by everybody who ever encountered her. Was a great interview the couple of times I got to talk to her over the years. And was never sick, was never unavailable, never thought about herself before the team, did everything she was asked of her, moved out to fullback and was like pretty decent for a couple of years there at fullback before coming back in.
Had a totally serviceable final season as a center back in this league.
Solid. Yeah. I mean, she, and a great mentor to Jordan Bugg.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't know if I saw any quotes from Bugg about Barnes, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume that Bugg really adores her. And I hope that's true. No, Lauren Barnes is the shit. She is the NWSL, and she's not famous. She's never going to be on a Wheaties box. She was never with the U.S. women's national team, but I mean, she is what makes the league great.
Yeah. Wanted to make special mention of Lauren Barnes on the last game of a really storied career, and one that I hope she has no regrets about, despite not ever bagging a title. She did everything and shields count. We believe in shields.
Those 17 hot dogs, we did that for you, Lou.
I'm not gonna own that.
Well, Orlando gets to host Gotham in the semifinal next week, which we will talk about on our semifinal preview in a couple of days. Thanks for listening to our quarterfinal recap. Click on the link in the show notes to join our Patreon. Only $6 a month gets you every single main feed episode, video and audio versions, ad-free, as well as exclusive bonus features across the board. It's a great deal, so go ahead and click that link and become a Patreon member today. In the meantime, follow us on social media at XOwnGoals.
Bye.